That's just a copy of her evaluation, so you can, but I don't have a packet of new stuff for you.
That'll teach me, huh? She talked about her experiences. What happened?
So, I can,
But what else what was in it?
just stuff here.
So,
I really don't know, it's whatever. Here. I think that, well, she was, improvement.
according to this too, it's saying that it should be in the stream settings, additional settings.
This is quite what we have.
Extra that.
Stream.
Purview.
So Music Studio, go live, click your stream or create one. Go to your stream settings, scroll for the additional settings, look for closed captions.
So, there's those.
It should then ask us to pick a source for the captions.
I gave you the updated dates, Carla.
It has hidden requirements to see those settings. The stream has to be set to normal latency. Your channel has to be in good standing. Stream language has to be in English.
You want to wait a couple minutes or?
If not, the topic can disappear. It will be disabled.
That's the only thing I was saying, Carla.
We can give it like 2 minutes to see if she comes in. Yes, okay. Yeah, it's a lot to look at.
Which one are you missing?
Hey, hello. We don't have Rochelle yet, though. Right, as expected on.
Michelle's assistant called to say that she was running late. Is that all ready for your trip? It is.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Talbot County Board of Education regular meeting for June 17th, 2026. We will open the meeting at 5:30 p.m. for the purpose of declaring a quorum, which we have, and we will then move to closed session as permitted by the Maryland Open Meeting Act, Section 3-305B, Provisions 1, 7, 8, and 9 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Section 3-103 of the General Provisions Articles of Annotated Code of Maryland for the following reasons. Citation 3-305B provision regarding personnel reporting to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Citation 305B provisions 7 and 8 regarding legal matters to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on the following legal matters, and to consult with staff consultants or other individuals about pending or potential litigation, which includes the following: a social media lawsuit regarding litigation on behalf of school districts against Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube, a lawsuit regarding an alleged injury to a student, an OCR case regarding special education services, a student case regarding alleged failure of TCPS to provide a free and appropriate public education, and a student case involving school residential placement allegations regarding the Child Victims Act. Citation 3-305B Provision 9 to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider matters that relate to such negotiations. So I would need a motion to move to closed session.
Move to closed session.
Second. Great, thank you. So we will go ahead and move to closed session, and we will see you back here at 7 p.m. Thank you. meeting for June 17th, 2026. We're going to go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I would also need an approval of the agenda motion for tonight.
A motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Thank you. And we also need an approval of our minutes from last month's meeting.
I motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Second.
Thank you. All right, we're going to get started under recognition of the public.
So good evening to the board, to the guests that are with us this evening. You could see on the screen that we are excited to congratulate Ms. Tegan Golden, as she is our 2026 Maryland History Day Special Award winner. She is a 7th grader at Easton Middle School, you could see, and she received this award for excellence of healthcare, advocacy, and history, sponsored by the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, for her paper, Elizabeth Blackwell and the Transformation of American Medicine. You could see her research explored how Blackwell broke barriers, transformed opportunities for women in medicine, perfectly aligning with the 2026 National History Day theme, Revolution, Reaction, Reform, and History. Following a first-place finish at regionals, Tegan advanced to the state competition at UMBC. She is taught by Mrs. Lindsay Matthews, the 2025 Maryland History Day Teacher of the Year. So it's probably no surprise that she has won this award. So I would like to call up Ms. Tegan Golden as we're presenting her with a Certificate of Achievement on your receipt of the 2026 Maryland History Day Junior Paper Award for Excellence of Healthcare Advocacy and History. Best wishes for continued success. And we're going to take a picture up. Take it away. We're going to take a picture.
We also have the NJROTC Drone Champ presentation.
And I believe they are going to present.
Good evening. Oh, my name's Allison.
My name's Kanaya.
And those are our instructors, these gentlemen. So this was me and Kanaya's first time flying the plane, and it was really a cool experience. And we spent a lot of time together because also we have our executive officer, she's our operations officer. We had Summers and Slaughter, who also went, so 5 of us went, and it was a really cool experience because last year we hosted it in Annapolis, the Naval Academy, and now this year we went to Atlanta, and it was really cool seeing other teams and then other opportunities that RTC can bring to us and what we can learn from it.
What I've enjoyed the most about this experience is that I got to get closer to my teammates, as well as we just see each other in the classrooms and the hallways. But during this trip, we got to actually talk and get to know one another. This experience, it was very impactful to me because I went in very nervous at first. It was my first ever drone competition, and like Allison said, we just hosted the last one in Annapolis last time. So, but once I got in there, it was okay. But once I started flying and getting to talk to the actual team members from different states and stuff, I got very confident in myself.
And it was a cool experience too because there was teams from
Like Tennessee,
California, other states. So we went against other teams from other states. So they were learning their way, and then we learned our way. But then we found a way to work as a team.
combined.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
I promise you, Allison's been with us. She's a third year, and Ms. Stanford's been with me she's been here for 2 years. I promise you, they didn't talk that loud or that much before when we first met. When they were talking, for those that do know, we did go to Atlanta for the Navy National JRTC drone competition. The competition is growing. The sport itself is growing. So we had a really good time with that. So this is what they were talking about in general, a lot of firsts for everything that they did there. Next year's competition looking to be held in California. We're looking to host some more competitions here in the local area with some other schools across the bridge that we teamed up with pretty good. So some teams in Baltimore in the area that came over for our actually, that's there in the center, some teams that came to a competition that we held here. So we're going to build upon that and have a good time with it. The other part outside of the competition is our students are, these is 2/3 of the Cheviators, by the way. They're 2/3 of the Cheviators. That's their team name, the Cheviators. But our students, you see our young man right there in the center with the ball cap, he currently has his FAA Part 107 license, which says that he can legally make money flying a drone. So we've had 3 students thus far. These 2 young ladies will be ready by the time we get back to school, and we have some others getting ready to go forward as well. So as we are touching into STEM as well as that career readiness. All right. Thank you. If there are any questions, otherwise, we appreciate the time and opportunity.
I like those shirts.
I know a guy.
I just want to add, Commander Carl Jackson, I just want to quickly add that some of the things that they did leave out was a lot of their other firsts were things like eating at Bojangles for the first time, or, you know, those sort of things. But it was great to take these 5 students. It was a great experience for me as a first-year student or first-year teacher to take these students to Atlanta for an overnight trip, and they did an outstanding job. They really made OS1 Gardner's Eye and our job very easy to look over them for 3 days in Atlanta. So it was a very rewarding experience for both from a teacher perspective and from the student perspective.
We're going to get your picture up here. You guys can go behind the board. I'm going to suggest these guys all slide down this way so you can stand up and all it's board.
You should get my this side.
Come back and switch this way. I'm sorry. There you go.
So one of the questions that's happening right now is if either one of the students want to just give us a little bit, you can go up to the podium and just give us a little bit about any future career goals, any type of impact that you might foresee in using the drone.
So right now the World Cup is happening, as you guys know, and I've seen recently how they're using the drones to see how the soccer moves. So it's like that's one point that they use the drone in, as well as when they build houses, to promote it, they show it around every angle, and that's how you can see it from above instead of just from a regular phone from your view.
And also one thing, OS1, he had mentioned it one time, like during like the opening of the Olympics, they like will form like in the sky, all the drones and stuff.
So what did your competition entail? What did you have to do in order to compete?
So there was three sections: piloting, autonomous, and teamwork. So piloting was, you had to pilot through the whole course, I think in under 1 minute. The middle one was teamwork, where you had to work with the opposing team to like trying to get as many balls into the section to score the highest point. And then that one, the last one, was autonomous. So you program the code into the computer, and it flies through it its own self. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I do know of one Talbot County Public Schools graduate who has a very interesting business doing drone photography for movies and television shows. And he's traveled all over the world at this point doing that. So it's very interesting.
The next item on our agenda is public comment. It does look like we have one person signed up for public comment, Ms. Lisa Hayes. I will read you a statement about public comment. You will be given 3 minutes. So I'll read a statement. Your timer will not start until you start speaking, but it will be 3 minutes. In order to maintain an orderly presentation of comments by the public, the following guidelines will apply. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less and are to be directed to board members from the podium. When the allotted time expires, the speaker will be permitted to complete their sentence and return to the audience. If unable to complete comments in the allotted time, individuals are asked to submit remarks to the board in writing. Signs or posters may not be displayed at a board meeting. Handouts may be left for board members at the podium. Public statements made at board meetings should relate to agenda items for a current meeting, a recent or future meeting, or a matter of general policy over which the board has authority. Personnel matters, matters relating to individual students, pending appeals, the action or statements of individual staff members, or items related to employee negotiations are not appropriate topics for citizen participation. Board members will not answer questions during citizen participation. Questions should be submitted in writing to the board. Responses will be provided in a timely manner. The board and/or superintendent reserves the right to correct misinformation presented during citizen participation. The board reserves the right to limit the number of speakers on a particular topic so that multiple topics may be addressed. The audience is asked to be respectful of public speakers and board members. Failure to comply may necessitate removal from the public meeting. Thank you for respecting these guidelines. Ms. Hayes, you are welcome to approach the podium. Ms. Strawberry is going to set your 3-minute timer for you and start it once you start speaking.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak this evening. I understand that you can't answer my questions directly that I submitted, and that's fine. I can wait for those answers to come back, but I would like to speak to the Maryland Blueprint Project. I know that the board has kind of been talking about possibly doing a roving bus pantry that was brought up at a meeting back this past spring. And while I understand the need for that, I do work with local pantries. I would say that I think that there's something that would fit better, in my opinion, and it would better serve our teachers, our staff, and definitely our students at this point in time. This county has a lot of food pantries in place. There are a lot of things in place that can help those who have need, including the care packs that go out. But as far as the blueprint goes, we have a lot of students, and I don't have to tell you this, and Dr. P and I have talked about this, who are below reading level or not proficient in math, and we know that. The numbers are there. I care more about kids than I do numbers, okay, and I'm a numbers person. But I think that instead of looking at maybe a bus pantry, I would love to ask this board to consider instead bringing tutoring in that would fit within the blueprint. I've checked it out. If we brought in reading interventionists in elementary schools, this would help the students, the teachers, and the parents as well. I mean, we all know that some parents are more hands-on than others, but some parents are overwhelmed. They don't know what to do when they find out in 3rd grade that their students can't read. I talked to a mom this past week about that. We could do high-dosage math tutoring for students below proficiency, really get in there and help them and do what needs to be done. Small group literacy instruction. In years past, I've worked in a group called STARS at St. Michael's Elementary. I didn't have a student in the program, but as someone who works in early childhood education, I love to see the light come on. As an educator, you all know what I'm talking about, when they finally get it. You know, the first time they read, it's magic. And I would go in and do stars with students and help them to learn to read. They got these really cool little backpacks. We were given papers to follow, so we knew what we were doing. They had books. It went home. For students who needed extra support, those books came back in, and either myself or another person would help them. But we helped to bring a lot of kids up to reading level. And what that does in the classroom is it takes some of the stress off of the teacher, who has anywhere from 15 to 25 or 30 students, and you may have 3 or 4 or 5 who aren't at level. And in order to engage those students, you're going to take time away from the others. But I also think that we need to also be engaging those students who are above proficiency. You know, those students who may need a little more challenging, because as somebody who was one of those kids, if I got bored in school, my dad always told my teachers, I don't care if you send her outside to beat the erasers, don't let her get bored. She'll find something to do, and you might not like it. I never got in trouble. But we need to meet kids on both ends. Can I finish?
You can finish your sentence.
Okay, thank you. I think that we need to meet students where they are and bring paraprofessionals in, or instructional aides, summer learning and acceleration programs, and data-driven intervention periods during the school day, and expand after-school tutoring for those students who need it, so that we can meet them where they are and bring them forward to where they need to be, so that when we're graduating them, they're ready for whatever they're going to go into next. Thank you for letting me have this time to say that.
Dr. Papagai, did you want to present any rebuttal, or we'll just move along? Move along. Okay, great. I would encourage you, Ms. Hayes, to stay for the upcoming presentation that St. Michael's Elementary is about to give us. Did we have anyone else signed up for public comment tonight? No? Anyone? Okay. Our next part of the conversation tonight is Technology Committee report.
So this is a committee that was started new this year, the TCPS Technology Advisory Committee. And so we met, I think, 4 times this year. And I just want to go through some of the things that we did. It's not a one and done. We will continue to assemble staff members in the district to continue to talk about instructional technology and where we are as a district in moving and having things available, all things under the umbrella of technology and what we're going to do. This is the list. You could see we had a lot of TCPS staff, but we also had outside, we had some parents, we had some administrators, and it was just great conversations. A lot of historical context was given for staff members who'd been here for a long time and have seen where we have been with one-to-one devices. So just a wealth of knowledge there to have conversations with. So the purpose was an advisory group that connects the school system with industry, higher ed, community leaders to strengthen technology planning, investment, and implementation across the district. So that's what we came together to talk about. So talking about the historical context, you could see how far back Talbot County has gone with one-to-one devices. And then the years where the technology policy was created, 96, revised in 07, and then again in 2025. The instructional technology coach, you could see there, Maryland AI Leadership Conferences. There's been 2 of them held for the state so far. So just kind of a landscape of what technology has looked like, not only for our district, but in the state. So I want to remind everyone of our Align by 2029 goals and where technology fits under these goals when we're talking about it. As far as the first priority that we're focused on, you could see the different things where technology, and this is not an exhaustive list, but some of the things that where technology can be used under the different priorities. So we launched an instructional technology survey with a third-party company that we use. The purpose was to gather information from staff members in the district about instructional technology and get feedback from their lens. There were 3 top themes that came back and 3 root cause insights that came back. They also proposed some evidence for us to move forward with that we can incorporate, some action steps, and then tables and charts. So once the survey was launched, I brought all the survey results back to the committee and shared it, and we shared the themes. So the themes that emerged from that survey was instructional technology is deeply embedded in daily teaching and learning. Educators seek greater clarity, consistency, and coherence. So we did hear and saw from the people in the room on the committee, as well as what came back from the survey, was that there's still a lot of questions. Some teachers know some things, others don't, but want to learn. There's some things happening in some spaces and not clearly across the whole system. So that's what speaks to this theme. And then time, training, and infrastructure. So that came up a lot, where there used to be, more staff, more time dedicated, and as years go, funding or what have you, some challenges came up in this area. Some root causes that aided to those themes. Teachers are using it frequently, but not yet. There's not a shared definition of what does high quality practice look like when we're talking about instructional technology. And so we know there's some good examples out in the system. And so some of the ideas were to highlight and spotlight some of those areas where teachers are utilizing instructional technology. Schools have autonomy, but there's not yet a shared reinforced framework. So we do have an guidance document, but we still want to work on an instructional technology framework. What does that look like per grade band? Because what kindergartners do with technology looks quite different than what high school students do. Educators are highly motivated, but the time and structural supports have not kept pace with expectations. And so we know how fast technology is moving. And so the question is, what will we do and how will we talk about what we use or not use now in the system? And so there was a Padlet created for all the things. We had some teachers that had taken courses, some that had come across articles. We had documents from our district that we put on the dashboard. So we have this Padlet that everyone had access to resources and materials. So next steps, what we want to do is the first 9 weeks of school, we really want to have some consistency as far as the different stakeholders, meaning for our parents, you have PowerSchool, you have Schoology, you have other technology use items that are out there in the district. And so what does it look like as far as communication of using that? Where can they go for help? Does everyone know the same thing? So just kind of creating some guidance for students in the different grade bands, K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12. We are hiring a new technology supervisor that will come to the table as well and hopefully bring an expertise to this topic. Technology ambassadors. So some of the staff members that were on the committee are ambassadors now. And so how can we formalize that and continue to bring them to the table to listen to their ideas and suggestions on what we can do? And then Maryland is also creating AI guidance right now. So we want to follow and keep abreast of what Maryland's doing and continue to bring this committee together to talk about what are we going to do to, or stop doing even, because it may not be adding more, but taking away in the area of technology for TCPS. So I just wanted to share kind of what we did this year in that work.
One of the areas that it might make sense to look at is connecting the dots between our technology and our curriculum now, especially when we get a new curriculum, connecting those dots between this technology effort and new curriculum, because there's, most of our curriculum now is technology, right? It's not a book. And there are many layers and levels to that, and instruction perhaps needed around when you're implementing that new tool and that new curriculum, how the things are set up, what resources are there within the curriculum. I think that's an area to maybe take a deeper dive into.
And we did
with
talk
the
about that,
technology
because you're right, because now there's site licenses for our curriculum, not the hardback textbooks that we used to have. So how is that rolled out, not only to our students and staff, but for families that want to help their students at home? And what does that look like? So that topic came up, and we'll continue to explore that.
I have a question. So in light of all of the research that's coming out with ed tech and how it's affecting our students, are you guys talking about that? And maybe look at, okay, since 2005, 2006, when we got the one-on-one or one-to-one device, we thought it was great. Great, we're advancing, we're progressing, but have we progressed? How have those numbers looked? And I think we'll see in the data, we have not progressed. So, I mean, are we going to look at all that and, hey, maybe we do, like you said, maybe it's not adding, maybe it's taken away. And maybe progression is stopping and looking, where are we, and then pivoting.
Yes, yes, and yes. So we are looking at, there are a lot of articles and research now that are coming out about screen time, correlation, use of technology, and correlation with achievement, in correlation with how students are advancing. So yes, we will be looking at that. Right now, and we all know with COVID, devices, went home every day. Now we're at the point of asking the question, do devices need to go home every day? Do devices need to be used as much as they are being used? Right now, I know teaching and learning, while we can't go into an iPad and see the number of hours our students are on it as connected to the curriculum, but we can speculate and talk to our teachers to say, how much time are students on that device with the curriculum that they have. So we are collecting that data so we can at least have a starting point to see where we are, and then have the discussions as to where we can possibly pull back.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments on technology? Okay. Now we have something very exciting. We have the ratification of our negotiated agreements for support staff and certified staff.
Hi, Andy. Good evening, Board and Superintendent. It is my pleasure to stand before you this evening to ratify our contract. On behalf of the Board of Education, Dr. Papakaye, and all of our staff, we would like to thank President Burke, as well as his team, and our teachers for the diligent work that they have committed to. Ratifying a contract is sometimes not an easy feat, but it's one that we keep at the center, and that's our teachers and students always. And so we thank you and your team for the work that has been done, and we're really excited that we got to this point. We look forward to continued success as we work together, and it has truly been a great partnership and a collaboration, and we want to continue to do that as we move forward. So we thank you. And so.
Thank you.
Right there, yes. If Kim at the front desk could countersign, or whoever's convenient.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be comfortable for me.
All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I do want to mention also, we also have a great partnership with our MSAE rep, Ms. Anna Fitz, who's not here this evening. So we want to thank her as well. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, next we have St. Michael's Elementary School on deck with Dr. Endra Bullock and her team.
Thank you, Ms. Dotson. Good evening, Dr. Papakaye and members of the board. My name is Dr. Endra Bullock, and I am the proud principal of St. Michael's Elementary School. Joining me tonight is Assistant Principal Mrs. Susie Schaefer, reading specialist, Mrs. Kelly Coots, math coach, Mrs. Marissa Carter, and kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Faith Mitchell. Tonight, we are excited to share the literacy journey at St. Michael's Elementary School. Over the past several years, our staff has worked collaboratively to address a significant challenge identified through our data, ensuring that every student develops the foundational literacy skills necessary for future success. What you will hear tonight is not the story of a single program or initiative. It is the story of a school community that embraced a shared vision, used data to guide decisions, and committed to an all-hands-on-deck approach to supporting students. Through strong instruction, targeted intervention, collaboration, and a culture that celebrates reading, writing, and reasoning, we have seen meaningful growth in student outcomes. While we're proud of the progress our students have made, we remain focused on continuous school improvement and ensuring that every child leaves our school as a confident reader, writer, and learner.
3 years ago, our data told us that we had a literacy problem that required immediate action. At the end of the 2022-2023 school year, 73% of our students were below benchmark in their foundational reading skills, according to the DIBELS assessment. DIBELS is a screening and progress monitoring tool used to assess students in grades K through 3. While many students demonstrated strengths in other areas, basic early literacy skills remained a significant concern. Focusing on foundational reading skills with our youngest students is beneficial in the long run because strong literacy skills support learning across all subjects, improve academic achievement, and build a strong foundation for more complex reading tasks in the future. We knew that if students struggled to read, every other academic area would become more difficult. This became the catalyst for a school-wide improvement effort focused on ensuring that all students had access to high-quality literacy instruction and intervention. Through continuous data analysis and collaborative planning, we established literacy as a priority area for our school improvement.
Our literacy improvement efforts began with a focus on strengthening Tier 1 core instruction in all grades, but with a particular emphasis on students in grades K through 3. As outlined in our school improvement plan, we prioritize the use of evidence-based practices, targeted professional learning, and consistent implementation across classrooms. Our goal was to ensure that every teacher had access to high-quality instructional resources, coaching, and support to deliver effective literacy instruction for all students. We implemented UFly foundations to strengthen foundational reading skills instruction. We utilized Benchmark Advanced Mentors to provide coaching, modeling, and instructional support. We increased the use of evidence-based literacy practices through ongoing professional development, peer observations, and intentional capacity building among staff. And finally, we created systems to support consistent, high-quality literacy instruction across all content areas and classrooms.
After 2 years of implementation, our efforts produced significant gains in student literacy outcomes. The percentage of students in grades K through 3 performing below benchmark decreased from 73% to 41%, demonstrating the positive impact of strong evidence-based Tier 1 instruction. While this growth was encouraging, our work was not complete. Although 41% represented substantial progress, it also meant that too many students were still not meeting benchmark expectations. The results affirm that high-quality core instruction makes a difference, while also highlighting the need for continued action. Guided by the continuous improvement cycle embedded within our school improvement plan process, we asked, what more can we do to ensure that every student is successful? This led us to analyze data to identify remaining gaps in student needs, implement targeted strategies to address those needs, monitor the impact through ongoing progress monitoring measures, and adjust supports based on student outcomes and evidence. This cycle became the foundation for our next stage of literacy improvement.
So as we analyzed our data, we recognized that strong Tier 1 instruction, while essential, would not be enough to close all learning gaps. To ensure every student received the support needed to accelerate growth, we implemented a multi-layered approach. In kindergarten, our reading specialists and tutors provide push-in support during literacy blocks to strengthen core instruction and build a strong foundation in early reading skills. For students in grades 1 through 5, we redesigned our master schedule to include a daily WIN, What I Need block, providing targeted intervention and enrichment based on student needs. We are especially grateful to Chapel District Elementary School for pioneering the WIN model and generously sharing their resources, experiences, and lessons learned. Their collaboration helped accelerate our implementation and strengthen the systems of support available to our students. At St. Michael's Elementary School, WIN looks like a daily intervention block for all students, targeted instruction for students in grades 1 through 5 based on identified needs, flexible grouping informed by ongoing data analysis, continuous progress monitoring, regular adjustments to instruction and intervention based on student performance, and 2 days per week dedicated to math intervention, 3 days per week dedicated to reading intervention.
So kindergarten is where our literacy journey begins, making early identification and intervention critical to ensuring that every child develops the foundational skills needed for reading success. Our work directly aligns with our school improvement plan's focus on providing targeted, data-driven instruction and intervention based on individual student needs. WIN and the kindergarten push-in model became the structures that allowed us to deliver the right supports to the right students at the right time. We believe that early literacy intervention requires a collective commitment from the entire school community. This multi-layered approach extends beyond the classroom teacher and includes reading specialists, math coaches, interventionists, special educators, and related arts teachers, and other instructional specialists. Everyone plays a role in helping students become successful readers. WIN transformed intervention from a standalone program into a shared school-wide responsibility.
Oh. Our school improvement plan recognizes that literacy growth requires more than strong instruction and intervention. It requires a school culture where reading and writing are valued, visible, and meaningful. Students need not only the skills to read and write, but also the motivation and the desire to do so. To achieve lasting success, literacy must extend beyond intervention blocks and become a part of the student's daily experience. To foster a love of reading and strengthen connections to literacy, we implemented a variety of school-wide initiatives, including buddy reading partnerships that connected students across grade levels, weekly community readers who visited classrooms to share their love of reading, an annual coin drive to ensure that every student could purchase a book of their choice at the school book fair, both in the spring and the fall, regardless of their financial circumstances, and a partnership with our Judy Center to establish community book libraries throughout our catchment area, increasing access to books beyond just the school day. Our school improvement plan also identified writing as a school-wide area of need. In response, every staff member adopted a student learning objective focused on student writing, regardless of their grade level or content area. This meant that writing became a shared responsibility across the building. Physical education students wrote to explain and justify new sports that they invented. Music students reflected on and described how music influences their emotions. And teachers across all content areas intentionally incorporated writing opportunities into instruction. To support this work, staff participated in professional learning focused on analyzing student writing samples and using that evidence to guide their instruction. This initiative reflected a core belief. Literacy is not the responsibility of the ELA teacher alone. It is the responsibility of every adult in our building.
I just want to clap for every slide because I love it, but okay. I was like, go Kelly! So one of our most impactful literacy experiences was our One School, One Book initiative. Every student, staff member, and family engaged in reading the same book together, creating a shared learning experience across the entire school community. To make the experience even more meaningful, chapters were recorded by members of the SMES community, and Spanish language recordings were created by students in neighboring Spanish classes, increasing accessibility for families. The experience culminated in a school-wide visit to the Maryland Science Center where students connected themes from the book to authentic hands-on learning. While data tells part of the story, moments like this remind us of why the work matters. One teacher shared the following reflection of a first grade student after the Maryland Science Center field trip. Yesterday, while working with a student, the student said, "This is all important stuff, but I really need to know how to read and write because I have to do that when I'm a scientist." She went on to explain all the things she would need to write about as a scientist. This was a student who had previously said she wanted to be a mermaid when she grew up. Who doesn't? That conversation was a powerful reminder of what literacy can do. Through meaningful experiences, students begin to see reading and writing not simply as school tasks, but as tools that help them pursue their dreams. Our goal is not only to teach literacy skills, but to open doors to future possibilities for every child.
The combination of strong Tier 1 instruction, targeted intervention, and a school-wide culture of literacy has led to significant improvements in K-3 student outcomes on the DIBELS assessment. In 2023, 27% of our students were at or above benchmark, while 73% of students were below benchmark. By 2026, 73% of our students are now at or above benchmark, and only 27% of students remain below benchmark. In just 3 short years, we reversed the trend and dramatically increased the number of students meeting benchmark expectations. The benefits of this work extend beyond early literacy intervention data. Our MAP assessment results show that every grade level, 1 through 5, is performing within the high achievement and high growth range in both reading and math. As students strengthened their foundational reading skills, they gained greater access to grade level content across all subject areas. This increased access translated into stronger academic performance and accelerated growth on broader measures of achievement. Our results reinforce a simple but powerful lesson. When strong instruction, targeted support, and a culture that values literacy work together, students thrive. In 3 years, we did more than improve scores. We changed trajectories for students and created a foundation for continued success.
Our success was not the result of a single initiative, but rather the collective impact of several key factors working together. Strong evidence-based core instruction, data-driven decision-making, targeted intervention through our WIN, What I Need block, and the kindergarten push and support, collaboration and shared ownership among staff, and a school-wide culture that celebrates and promotes literacy. While we are proud of the progress we have made, our work is not finished. Today, 27% of our K-3 students remain below benchmark, and we are committed to continuing our efforts until every student has the skills and supports needed to succeed. Our literacy growth did not happen by chance. It happened because our school community embraced a shared vision, used data to identify areas of need, and worked together to implement meaningful solutions. Our school improvement plan provided the roadmap, but it was our students, staff, families, and community partners who brought this plan to life. Perhaps the most important lesson we learned is this: when literacy becomes everyone's responsibility and every decision is guided by what students need most, remarkable growth is possible. As we move forward, we remain focused on continuous improvement and committed to ensuring that every child becomes a confident reader, writer, and lifelong learner. Thank you. Don't feel like you have to ask questions.
I like your shirts too, but I kind of like theirs better.
Well, I do too. I know the guy now.
My question is a student that is in 3rd grade that's advancing to 4th, what interventions are carried forward?
The interventions are continued based on student need. So Ms. Coots could speak directly to this, but we have students who might need more help in fluency. So their intervention is based on reading fluency. Some students need just help with comprehension, so that's where the focus is. We also have students in second grade reading chapter books during their intervention and discussing, having some deep, meaningful, critical thinking conversations around those. It really is driven by the teacher's data and what the students need. Did you want to add anything?
She answered that beautifully, but UFly is the University of Florida's Literacy Institute, and that's the program that you've been hearing a lot about. They are actually about to release a second, like an intervention for older students that we're looking into as well. So they might be like more the morphology piece. But like Dr. Bullock said, the Benchmark Advance it has interventions along with it. So if you're targeting fluency, then there's interventions that you can use that come from the Tier 1 program as well.
So it goes through grade 5?
Say that again, sorry.
Does it go through grade 5?
Yes. Yes, and that works really well because it targets the skills that they're covering in Tier 1, in their Tier 1 instruction, and we can pull and focus on fluency passages that support that Tier 1 instruction by targeting which is their area of weakness.
And as they advance, what Ms. Coots was talking about, like the morphology, we're looking at like parts of words, meanings behind those, how they show up. When I go in to observe those lessons, because I learned more whole language approach, I'm actually learning more about our English language and first graders. They understand how our words are created, which will only help them as they get to more advanced levels of education.
I really appreciated sitting in one of your staff meetings a few months back and seeing what goes into this work and the What I Need block. It was really helpful to see that in action behind the scenes. And I also want to mention that I know that you're regularly using reading coaches, and I think I spy one out there in the audience. But I'm assuming that the coaching is also layered on top of all of the teachers and IEs and everything else.
Yes, so our reading tutors focused this year on K through 2 literacy, and they were part of the What I Need block, providing intervention throughout the day based on what their areas of specialty are. And yeah, there's one of our reading tutors in the audience.
Put you on the spot. Any other questions for St. Michael's?
I do have a quick question. So you guys have been working hard, as we can definitely see by your data, your evidence. You can really see the changes that you have made over the last few years. Now, when you are consistently looking at the remaining students who are still below the benchmark, what platforms or how frequently do you guys assess those students to see if there's anything outside of what the curriculum currently offers that we can possibly purchase or think outside of the box to really increase where we are?
It is a student-by-student issue. And our students who haven't met benchmark are making also continual progress, as we can see in our MAP data. We're in high growth areas all the way around. So even the students who haven't met benchmark, we have instructional curriculum and the people in place who are helping them to build on the skills that they already have.
Thank you. Yeah. And I just want to hopefully encourage you guys that if there's something out there that you feel like the board should know and be aware of, that we could provide instructional materials, we would like to hear that from Dr. Einhorn.
Absolutely. I'm never quiet about the needs.
I'd just like to say thank you for all your hard work. It really shows. We appreciate you.
You got it.
Yeah, it was really very impressive to hear not only the strategies, but to see the data and the outcomes that you've had in 3 years of implementing these programs.
Yeah, we're really excited. Thank you so much.
Okay. The benchmark program. So when you talk about benchmark, are you talking about like the benchmark or the the?
Great question. So Benchmark is the name of the reading curriculum that we have for K through 5 through 5th grade. But we were also talking about meeting the benchmark on the DIBELS assessment. And that's just the name the assessment gives it for what they consider grade level proficiency.
So I have a couple of things. But so the benchmark program, I understand or understood it to be very difficult in the
It's
beginning.
rigorous. It has more to do with critical thinking, reading authentic texts, annotating. So maybe kind of digging deeper into skills that we hadn't accessed with our students before, but they're meeting the challenge.
Okay, so that's impressive, because I know when you first introduced it, I know kids were having problems because they were used to getting A's and they weren't, so that's even better, right?
Yeah.
And so they've really grown. And then the other thing was, so for the kids who don't need intervention, or I'm saying, or those kids who are advanced, are they given what they need? Is the win like what I need?
100%. So what I need, we used intervention very broadly, but it's really intervention and enrichment. Yes. All right, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bullock and team. We really appreciated hearing from you tonight. Agenda item would be reviewing board goals from Dr. Pepkai.
So this is a perfect segue. So all year, you've been hearing every elementary school's work that they're doing around K-2 literacy. At the beginning of the year, our board tagged the board goal to be K through 2 literacy. And so at our work session, you saw data around this. So I just kind of wanted to stamp and give a report out of where we stood with the board goals. So at the start of the year, we had 379 students in grades K through 2 who were at or above the benchmark. At the end of this year, when they took the DIBELS assessment, which we talked about at our work session, 512 students were at or above the benchmark, which is an increase of 133 students, which equates to 35.1% increase. So while the board set a 5% increase for the board goal, the actual increase was 35%. And just what you heard from St. Michael's Elementary School, that right there is contributing, and all the schools are contributing to students growing in the area of K-2 literacy. And so what you each have is a bound book that talks about each of the goals or each of the areas that I'm evaluated on and how K-2 literacy aligns with each of those categories of my evaluation. So I know it's a lot to go through, but I just wanted to share, and I know we'll be having a retreat for us to talk about this current year's goals. And so I just see that there's a lot of momentum around K-2 literacy, and there's a lot of great work after hearing all of the schools present, and you could see the data is moving in the right direction.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you. I look forward to hearing more about this in the upcoming school year and digging into those school improvement plans in the fall. Our next item is Mrs. Spurrier with our out-of-area calculations presentation.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Pepkai. Tonight, I'm presenting to you the calculations and the numbers for out-of-area placed students for the 26-27 school year. So I'll just go through each of the columns and explain how this is factored in to it. So we have the number of students, and I apologize, it should say 2026. It's based on April 30th of 2026 enrollment. So those were our numbers on April 30th. Then you'll see in the next column, the SRC, that's what the state says is the SRC of each building. And then you'll see the percentage of SRC for each building. And please note that at the elementary level, a school has to have a minimum of 60% SRC to be able to send students to another school. And if elementary schools may accept the number of out-of-area students, that would bring the school's SRC to 84% at the elementary level, and then 94% at the secondary level.
And that's state-rated capacity.
I'm sorry, state-rated capacity, thank you. So then in the color-coded column, you'll see the status of each school, whether they can send, whether they can send and receive, or whether they can only receive. And then you'll see in the next column, the number of out-of-area students already included in the student enrollment. So we're really talking about new numbers. And then the number of additional or new students who can be accepted at each school. So the process in our AR is that students do have to apply every year. We have approximately 330 applications that we're processing prior to June 30. We also have some parents who forget they have to apply, so we nudge them and remind them, and we'll act on those applications after July 1. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. Anybody else have questions? No?
When you say out of area, is this just within our county or students coming in from elsewhere?
That's a great question. So it is mostly students coming from within our county who reside in a different school zone. However, we do have teachers who might live out of county but within state, and they are allowed to bring their students. Those students are considered out of area. And then we have some students who choose to pay tuition to come to Talbot County if we have room in our school, and they're approved. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Spurrier.
Thank you.
Next on deck is Mr. Schaefer with the Easton Middle School roof replacement.
Thank you, Vice President Dodson. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Pepikai and staff. So, not really an update. I'm actually coming to the board for a change order request. So, the Easton Middle School roof project started on Monday, and unfortunately, we've had a little bit of a setback. So, a change order is basically a written agreement between the owner and the contractor to change the existing contract. In this case, the change order would be a contract increase. And so, just very briefly, I'm going to show you some exciting pictures from the roof that I took today. And basically, just a very simplified summary of what has happened is the picture on the left shows you the lightweight concrete, which is this light gray, and that is the old built-up roof that was under the roofing membrane. That built-up roof, which is basically a tar paper type substance, was going to be the vapor barrier, which was required. And so the picture on the right, you can see that it has detached. And the assumption was that it would serve as a vapor barrier because it had a attachment system that would work. That has failed. So we are having to change the scope of the work that the contractor is going to do, which leads to a fairly significant change order. So just very quickly, the funding summary, state funding from the IAC was $2.34 million. Local funding from the county council was $1.358 million. For a total contract cost of $3.698 million and change. Second part of that slide is the use of funds. So the construction contract includes $100,000 in contingency expenses. That's built into the contract. So you'll see the 3.698 matches the total funding amount for the project. The change order amount is $103,439.74. And you'll see that that math does not add up. And the reason for that is the $100,000 that's built in. So the $3.698 million plus the $3,439.74 changes the contract value by that amount, not the full $103,000. So that's why the new contract amount is really only increasing by that very small margin. So in truth, there were some questions about this roof. It's been a problem for years, and so we didn't really know what we were getting into, and so we assumed this might happen, which is why it's very close to the actual contingency amount. So with all that being said, I am asking that the board consider approving the change order as submitted, and you have more documentation in board docs that goes into a little greater detail of the finances. You know, there is an owner contingency as well, which we don't advertise because obviously the project is still going on. But this would use the in-contract contingency, but we still have additional funding that should something else happen.
How old is that roof?
So it's older than the last renovation, and the last renovation was in 2002. So I believe that the roof goes back to 1995, and there's different ages of the roof on that building.
So there's no recourse on the prior?
No. In fact, the state gave us additional money because of we call it upkeep, but they give an additional 5% funding for building systems that pass their life expectancy. So we take care of them to a point where they actually exceed their life expectancy. So we got some additional state funding because of that.
I know the roof was leaking this past winter with all the snow setting up there. I heard complaints about that from the gym being shut down for PE classes.
Yes.
So I guess we just need a motion to move this forward.
I'd like to move that we approve change order number 1 as proposed by Mr. Schaefer.
A second?
Okay. Everybody agree? Aye? Great. Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Schaefer. I'm going to ask that you stay there because our next agenda item is unfinished business. And within our consent agenda, we have the weapons detection system, but I think we had indicated we wanted to pull that out of consent agenda on Monday night. So I'm asking you to stay there for that piece of the conversation, and then we can go through the rest of the consent agenda items, if that's okay.
Yep, that's fine. And I think once I go through each of the consent agenda items, I want to make a recommendation based on what I heard at the end of our work session. So I just want to kind of recap. The consent agenda items that we discussed on Monday were the budget timeline where Mrs. Jones presented the fiscal year 27 budget, the educational facilities master plan presented by Mr. Schaefer, and then Dr. Einhorn presented the virtual instruction day plan. We talked about the weapons detection system, and it was put on the table to try a pilot at Easton High School under the amount that was given. We had the $400,000 in a non-recurring funding line. At the end of our conversation, the question was only at Easton High School. My recommendation is that to have parity in our district, to have it at both Easton High School and St. Michael's Middle High School. But I wanted to put that out on the table under the consent agenda items and for any discussion after that.
Should we discuss that now, or do you want us to approve the rest of the?
You can't discuss that now.
Okay. I support that. You know, I raised the question in the work session because it seemed to me that that was important. And these things, as I said then, you know, it's heartbreaking that we have to expend these funds, and yet we have to keep our children safe as best we can at any given point in time. So I appreciate Mr. Schaefer's approach to this, to pilot these types of units, to give them a try. I think we ought to do it in both places because these things are random. There's no logic to it. And also to work with St. Michael's, work with the school there, work with law enforcement. I know you've had a work group, Mr. Schaefer, as you've implemented this. So to see, for those unique circumstances there, what would be the best utilization of this equipment?
I concur with Mrs. Juris.
I do too, and thank you so much for adding that in.
So I think what we need to do is have a motion to go forward with it into both buildings.
And so what we can do, I think, is do a motion for all of the consent items. But I also want to make sure that we have the understanding that the price for this is under that 400,000. And so for us to agree that those leftover funds will be earmarked for future weapon detection systems or whatever decisions we move forward with.
I agree. I agree, and I think that part of the thinking was expressed to us that there's a report that's going to be coming out in December that may give us some additional information so that we could get these units in place, pilot them, see how they work, get the report, and then see how else we might want to use those funds, the best utilization of those thereafter.
So do we need a separate motion to approve use at both buildings then? Or are you amending the current consent agenda item?
Yeah, I think we could bundle it all under the consent agenda items.
Okay, so I just need a motion then to approve our consent agenda items.
I move to agree with the consent agenda items.
Second.
Aye. Great, thank you so much. Our consent agenda items have passed. We will kick it over to Mrs. Jones for our board report package.
Good evening, board members. Tonight I have a financial report through the end of May that includes projections through the end of the year. As you'll see in the top section, we're projecting to come in about $1.1 million under in our original budgeted revenue. The majority of that is from the special education reimbursement we get for our non-public students, as well as in interest income. And then we have an offsetting savings amount down in our expenditures line item. So as of right now, we're really coming in very close to a zero balance for the year. And we're managing that throughout the day, every day at this point. And we'll continue to do that as the bills come in over the next few months. But we're within budget. The county council, as I mentioned Monday night, did approve our category budget transfers when I met with them last week and requested that. So we're in good shape for this year. And thank you for your approval of the consent agenda. Now we can move forward with the 2027 budget finalization.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Our next item is the personnel report with Dr. Horsey. So we will just need a motion to approve it as presented in closed session.
I move to approve the personnel report as presented in closed session.
Second.
All those in favor?
I have an abstain.
Yeah. Thank you. Our next item is the superintendent's report with Dr. Pepkai.
So good evening again. What you have up here are 2 ARs. They do not have to be voted on. It's for your information only. Just to give an update, changes have been made to the student progress reports to parents, the AR. There was the grading meeting that happened to all 6 through 12 staff members. As a result, at the end of that meeting, there was a open-ended question, an opportunity for staff to give all their questions, their concerns, and so all of that information was put into a FAQ that all of you have a copy of. So I just wanted to report on that. The work is moving forward with now all the communication, all the professional development under this area of grading. The second AR, and we talked a little bit about this on Monday with the student attendance. Per COMAR, there were changes made, and we added those changes into our AR. And you have a copy of that as well. And then lastly, this is the possession of portable communication devices. So this is, again, another update, but this particular one will continue to be discussed, as well even the attendance one internally for us to continue to look at based on discussions from our work session on absences, on tardies, as well as communication devices, which with the new legislation, this will be a topic that we will be discussing in our leadership retreat, July 13th and 14th. So we can start to put some parameters in place and as an entire district come together around this and what this will look like. We want to celebrate Mrs. Holly Sump, who is our Teacher of the Year for the 26-27 school year. We went to Baltimore, and she was recognized by the State Board of Education. We cut the ribbon on another Judy Center at White Marsh Elementary School. So I want to thank all the staff members who work hard to write the grants, to follow up, to make sure the staffing, all that goes into having a Judy Center for our community. Graduation, our highlight of the year, pictures from congratulations of St. Michael's, and then we have our Easton graduation. And both ceremonies were wonderful, and even though we sit in the audience and we look at the program that takes place, I just want to thank everyone behind the scenes, from printing the program to answering probably some disgruntled parents who want extra tickets, all that goes into graduation. So I just want to thank everyone because it was really, really two good ceremonies. Our retirees, a group of individuals who have given a lot of service to TCPS. We celebrated them and was able to have a great evening. I want to thank the HR department for putting this together and just honoring our TCPS staff for the years of service that they gave to our students. So that was a very nice evening. And we want to wish everyone a happy and safe summer break. Last few days, able to go around and see some of the staff and talk to some of the students. I did ask them if they wanted us to possibly extend just one more week. And you can imagine what they told me. Yeah, some surrounding districts here just finishing up. So we had our first day of summer leadership training, took place on Tuesday. And it was just a day to celebrate the year, to celebrate the school year. Our 3 terms were valuing, celebrate, and empowering. And that's what we did. We went over to the space at the BAM Center. They graciously allowed us to use their space. And so it was just a day where every school and every department created visuals where we were able to leave feedback on the work that they did, and just a very nice light day. The 2 July dates will be a little more heavier, where we'll go a little bit deeper into what we'll be working on for the upcoming year, and then we'll have a one last third one in August. So a lot of work being done this summer in preparation for the new school year. We have our upcoming events, and our first one next week will be our Popsicles in the Park at Idlewild Park in Easton. We've had this for a few years now. We partner with the Talbot County Free Library where we give away books, popsicles, and it's just a great day where we have families come out and I read some stories, and we do it at Easton, and then also we'll have one at St. Michael's. And you could see other different activities that will be happening. Summer meal pickup dates, you could see there today. I see June 17th to register for summer meals there with the registration link. So information is there. And so with that, today is my last board meeting of my first 4 years as superintendent. And I just put together a 4-year snapshot of what has been the impact of what has been happening here over the last 4 years. So you could see there on the front slide, we had some hashtags each year. It was always transforming and performing, but every year we tagged it a different way. And so this quote here, it's not something you learn once for all. It's an ever-evolving pattern of skills, talents, ideas that grow and change as you do. And so here is a timeline of just a snapshot of, I didn't want to be here all night because we've done a lot, and we just highlighted some of the big things that we've done starting my first year where I went out, I listened, I learned to lead, Blueprint, I was learning Blueprint myself, all that came with it, advisory committees. We had our Science of Reading training. So what we're seeing now is, a result of staff getting trained in the Science of Reading. The next year, we reevaluated the strategic priorities that were in place, and you could see there it was 3 big buckets: academic equity, highly qualified staff and diverse staff, and fostering an engaging environment. And some of those we have threads now in our line by 2029. We implemented additional advisory and board committees, and then I reorganized our cabinet and looking at our leadership here at our district office. The third year, we entered into a new strategic plan. In the process, we established our mission, core principles. Every school started having their school improvement plans. We were looking at data. Our board members, we traveled and went to national stage to present at the National School Board Association. And then we had athletic field upgrades at both St. Michael's and Easton High School. And then this year, we launched our first year of our strategic plan. Marathon open. We had Centegic, safety system, our renovation at Chapel, and Apogee platform launched. So that's a high-level overview of every year. Now I want to show you, under the different priorities and buckets, what has been done. And again, this is just kind of scratching the surface. As you know, in the last 4 years, my team has been very, very busy doing a lot around the district, and that's just bulleted items that you could see of what we've been doing under academic achievement. Highly qualified staff. This is our second priority now and aligned by 2029. Really making sure that we are looking at who we have in the system, aligning our principal evaluation to standards, and everything in between that touches our staff. Student, family, and community engagement. All the things that we're doing out in our community, making sure that they're involved, making sure we're transparent, we're communicating, we're partners with what's going on. We did receive, and I posted on my LinkedIn, some awards for our newsletter, for our videos, for the annual report. So we want to thank our communication department for that. We did the listening sessions throughout the year. We'll continue to do that, making sure we're hearing what's going on out in the community and how we can continue to make our district better. Aligning systems for success. That's with the school improvement plan, making sure that what you've seen from our schools, K-2 literacy, is embedded in the improvement plans, and that we're looking at the data and making sure that we are staying focused on the core, what's happening in our classroom. You could see there, as far as technology, that last bullet, all buildings to cloud-based voice over IP phone system. I know when I first got here, we used to hear about some phones weren't working in some places. We've remedied that, security cameras, and then all of our board policies, we're still going through them, but we've tackled a lot of school policy, district policies, and have upgraded and updated those policies. And the last priority, increased resources and efficiency. You could see the Centegics, the TCPS bus opt-in, opt-out, Marathon, Wi-Fi, and then our TCPS Education Foundation. We can't forget them and all the grants that they have given to our staff. So all in all, it's been a good 4 years. As far as our collaboration, board and superintendent, you could see some of the things that we've done just in the 4 years. We have our retreats. We've restructured our meetings. We're focusing on student outcomes. We revised my evaluation, the feedback process. We do learning walks in our schools. We go to national conferences, and we celebrate our success together. And so I just want to thank everyone who has contributed, and I have a statement here. As I close the presentation tonight, I want to express my sincere gratitude to everyone who has been part of this journey over the last 4 years. 4 years ago, I stood before this community as a proud Talbot County native, returning home to serve as superintendent. Together, we embraced a vision of transforming and performing, not for the sake of change itself, but to create greater opportunities for every student, every staff member, and every family we serve.
The accomplishments highlighted tonight are not the work of one person. They are the result of a dedicated Board of Education, committed educators and staff, supportive families, engaged community partners, and remarkable students. Every initiative, every improvement, every success story represents countless individuals working together with a shared purpose. I am especially grateful for our Board of Education for your trust, your partnership, your commitment to keeping students at the center of every decision. Your support has allowed us to think boldly, act strategically, and remain focused on our mission, which is to partner with families and the community in providing innovative, experiential learning that prepares every student to succeed in college, career, and life. Over these 4 years, we have listened, learned, planned, implemented, and grown. We have strengthened systems, expanded opportunities, invested in people, improved outcomes, and built a stronger foundation for the future. While there is still work ahead, I am proud of what we have accomplished together. As I reflect on the chapter, I am reminded that leadership is never about an individual. It is about the collective impact we make when we unite around a common vision. Together, we have worked to ensure that every student is valued, celebrated, and empowered to their fullest potential. Thank you for allowing me the privilege and honor of serving this community that I call home. The past years have been among the most meaningful of my career, and I look forward to continuing our work as we build upon this momentum and shape an even brighter future for Talbot County Schools. Together, we have been transforming and performing each day, together and in every way, and the best is yet to come. And the icing on the cake is that there's a video that you are going to watch. 4 years ago, our board president, and she was the only person on the board that's still around when I was hired, she actually had this creative idea that when Talbot County was looking for a superintendent, they were going to create a video and use Talbot County students to advertise for it and solicit and talk about the qualities that they wanted in a superintendent that they hoped to see. Well, 4 years later, we went back out and found those students to see if I actually fulfilled what they were looking for. So, play this video.
We are looking for a transparent consensus builder.
Check.
Who will communicate effectively and honestly? Check. Someone who can build support and trust.
Check.
A person who will be visible and active in our schools. Check. We are looking for an experienced instructional leader. Check. A person who is knowledgeable of current educational issues. Check. Who is a positive and collaborative leader. Check. And promotes equity. Check. Who understands and values the challenges and opportunities of a small rural school district. Check. A person that will articulate our needs to the public and funding officials.
Check.
We are looking for, we were looking for you.
Dr. Pepakai.
So I want to thank everyone for the first 4 years and looking forward to another 4 years of doing great things for Talbot County Public School students and staff. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that great wrap up. That was very high level, but you hit a lot of important points. And so, believe it or not, this might be our earliest wrap in, I don't know, maybe many, many, many months. But we are to closing remarks. So I'm going to start with Mrs. O'Connor down there on the end.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And I just wanted to say thank you to St. Michael's. I know they left. But all of those things that they had talked about was the strong instructional support, the targeted support, the intervention, the data-driven decisions. Those were all things I think we had touched on, or even some people came to speak about in the beginning of the year, mid-year. So I know they've been working on that. And thank you to the NJROTC. That was a great explanation. And I love how the kids come in and can speak. One thing with I'm still going to I'm going to say this with the grading thing. I am a little disappointed still with that due date thing. It's in section L, and I really believe we need to change that wording because I think the teachers, it's just not, it says one thing in one paragraph and the next thing in the different thing in the next paragraph about there will be due dates, and then it does not give the teacher the authority to give the due date. It says they have up until the summative. And so I believe we need to give teachers that authority to give actual due dates. But anyway, thank you for a great end of year, and I know the teachers have worked super hard. It's been a challenging year, and they've come through. So I wish them a restful summer and to come back charged in the fall.
Mrs. Bridges?
I'd like to say thank you to our community for all the scholarships and support they gave to our students. After reading the paper of what our surrounding communities of surrounding counties have done, we are so blessed in this county. There was over 11 million in student scholarships in St. Michael's and over 12 million in counting in Easton. I think that's phenomenal, and I just want to thank our community. Also, I was thrilled to hear that we got our grant reinstated for our health clinic. That's so important for our teachers and their families. And I also would like to thank our county council for funding all of this. I know it's a lot, but they've supported us through all of this. And I want to thank Sarah for all your hard work on your budget. I know it's been a huge, huge project, but you did it, and thank you so much. I'd like to thank all the teachers for their hard work. Please rest and rest up for next year. And Dr. P, thank you so much. You're amazing. I thank you for your accessibility, for your leadership, and you're always there to listen, and you communicate so wonderfully with each one of us, and I thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Bridges. Ms. Strawberry?
Echoing my appreciation for everything that you do, Dr. P, and your team, all of the things that you highlighted there. It was bulleted, but just realizing that those things aren't just check marks. They take time, and they take a lot of work, a lot of project evaluation that you have to do, and then kind of go back and reevaluate and reassess. So all of the work that you do, you can really tell. I want to acknowledge the students that came. I'm just going to name them: Tegan, Allison, and Kanaya, and the presentations that they gave today and the awards that they received. That's really great to really see that and kind of tie everything in that we do throughout the year. And then I want to give my own award to the St. Michael's Elementary School, and I'm going to call it the Literacy 360 Award. When we talk about turning things around, they literally turned it around. So I'm going to call it a 360 Award. Can somebody type that up and put my name on it?
Make them a certificate. Okay, thank you so much. Mrs. Jarius?
Echoing what many others have said, it was a wonderful presentation from St. Michael's. It is just outstanding to see how they have turned that around, 360, as Ms. Strawberry said. That's excellent progress. And it's also due to the focus of the entire team and effort, including Dr. Einhorn, your leadership, and all of the other aspects that have gone into this, creating the goals that this board has done, that Dr. Pepakai's leadership. It's wonderful to see how that has really begun to play out in each of the schools that we've had a report from this year with their progress on their improvement plans. Mrs. Jones, also, thank you so much for your work on the budget this year, bringing us in I think we can't underestimate that and all that it takes to do that, and we very much appreciate it, and even working with all the challenges that we had to get to a place for going forward next year to make things work and still be able to move forward with our goals. Mr. Schaefer, thank you for all that you do to keep our buildings and facilities moving forward. We've also continued to make progress with that, with our fields, dealing quickly with our roof problem, and your foresight, obviously, in anticipating that there might be, might be other unforeseen challenges. And of course, Dr. Pepakai, your clarity of focus, you're looking at goals and alignment, and just your vision for excellence, you know, for all the things to bring this team together to level us up and move us forward. Very much appreciated and commended, and really enjoyed seeing that tonight and all that goes into it. And thank you to the community for all of the community support, to our teachers who I know have worked so hard and are really on the front lines and care so much. You know, it's just been amazing to witness that. And of course, our students. It was so wonderful at graduation. What a high point of the year to see our students and hear from them and see that journey. So thank you. Thank you all for a great year.
Mrs. Wayland Cherry?
So, since Amy and I are standing between you and a summer vacation and a vacation, I'm just going to say my world famous ditto. And I want a shirt like that. And thank you all, and have a great summer.
Thank you so much, everyone. I have to echo what everyone else has already said. I love your 360-degree, Ms. Strawberry. I think that's fantastic. Maybe that's something that we really do to every school every year. I also, on a personal note, I want to thank my fellow board members and Dr. Pepakai and everybody else on the team for allowing me to carry the mantle of special education on my back. It's something that's very near and dear and personal to my heart, and I appreciate everyone allowing me to bring that up whenever I feel is necessary. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you digging for answers when I ask these questions. Thank you, Dr. P. I've been right here with you those 4 years, and it's been, when you put it all up there like that, it's amazing what all has been accomplished, even just thinking back that far. So thank you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, St. Michael's. And now I'm going to ask Mrs. Bridges if she would like to make a motion.
I make a motion, we close the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?